Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be analyzing my round 13 game of the Tata Steel Challengers. I'd like to take a moment to briefly talk about the tournament since it's over. This has probably been one of the most disappointing and embarrassing results of mine in the past couple of years. Um, I think every single thing that could have went wrong quite quite terribly. And I'm very very disappointed with my play. Um, I've tried to rationalize and explain my mistakes, but the only thing that I could really chalk it up to is extreme fatigue. Um, I have been traveling and living in hotels for the past 3 years, and in the past 3 years, I've spent 5 months at home, um, or in an apartment that I've lived in that hasn't been a hotel. So it's been extremely tiring. I'm extremely sick right now. I'm coughing, profusely during the games. And It's been a very difficult tournament, a very long tournament, and I'm extremely tired. So I'd like to apologize to all of my fans for this embarrassing performance. I understand that I'm much better than this, and I can play a lot better than this, and this is probably the absolute worst result and chess that I could have played. Um, uh, it was just sort of beyond any beyond recognition. I look could not recognize myself playing these games. Um, again, I appreciate all the support. I also really appreciate all of the hate because the hate comments motivate me even more. But I'm going to torture myself this entire year, working as hard as possible, enduring as much suffering as possible to punish myself for this terrible performance. And I'm going to make up for it, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to improve and learn from all these mistakes. Um, of course, everyone can have a bad tournament, but this was just beyond that. So let's get into to my round 13 game. It was actually a very interesting game. Um, but again, fatigue almost had things collapse. So in the final game, I was playing against Jaime Santos Latasa. The game was at 12, a bit earlier than 2, so I woke up. I didn't sleep too well, but I was waking up around 12 usually, so this was a bit early for me. Knight of 6, c4, e6, knight to bishop before I played queen c2, and after I played saw queen c2, I was quite disappointed because it's one of the most drawish lines in chess. For example, after castles e4, d5, e5, knight e4, the line goes on for like 25 moves and it's just all a forced draw. And then, okay, you can also go a3, but then after like takes d5. But I really didn't, like, I thought that if I was going to play e5, he was just going to play e4 and just force a draw. So I sat here thinking, not very surprised by this sort of whole system, trying to think of what to play. And I decided, okay, let me just go d6. It's a bit of a dubious move, but the point is sort of keep some pieces on the board, um, keep his position closed, and keep the game alive. He went e3. Again, like after d6, e3, I'm completely out of book. Like after g6, I remember that you go like, I think it's like a3, takes, and there's some line with like b6, f3, and all I could remember was like castles, e4, c5, d5, b5. And I think Pragnanda had some game with black here. This is all I can remember. Um, uh, so after E3, I was already a bit shocked, thinking, okay, what to do. So I thought, okay, let me just castle. Let's see where he wants to put his pieces. Because bishop d3 is signaling he wants to go 92. So I thought, again, I was trying to understand, like, conceptualize position because, of course, like this, for example, this position, I was trying to understand, like, of course, the queen is on c2 and the pawn is on d6. So I was trying to understand what benefits that it might have for me. Um, So that's why I decided to go c5. I thought that this should be helpful. Uh, he plays takes, and yeah, apparently here the best move is d5, which I think is just ridiculous. The point being that let's say okay, takes, knight c3, knight we can go knight bd7, knight c5, and I guess you're arguing that the queen is worse on c2 because potentially the c file might be open, so it's quite ridiculous. Uh, I played the logical d takes c5, and here he played knight f3. He probably should have played bishop d2 because after knight f3, I got to take, forcing this, and now I can develop normally. But if he plays bishop g2, he can then go a3, forcing me to develop. But I thought like, okay, knight c6. I was not sure. Again, completely out of book, so sort of freestyling here. Let's see what the engine says. Okay, just bishop a5, a3, and b6. I can just develop normally and pretend like everything's okay. Um, but okay, he goes knight f3. I take and knight c6. Obviously, if castles, then I go e5. Um, so he goes bishop c2, stopping e5. I go b6. Again, I was sort of panicking here for a moment. Like I want to play rook e8, but then I didn't like knight e5. And like after this, I thought like I'm just going to be worse. These two bishops are very strong. So after you see I'm spending a lot of b6, and then he plays b3. And then I realized, wait, like if I again try to go rook e8, because what I was hoping after b6 was after here, and I thought like bishop b7, b3. Now I have knight b4. Then I underestimated how strong it was to go b3 before castles. Um, bishop b7, and at this moment I was really panicking. Like I spent 20 minutes here. I was thinking like, okay, let me go rook e8, bishop b2, and then queen c7. Obviously now trying to play e5, and I was thinking, okay, he has to go knight e5. I take. And I was like, okay, maybe I should just suffer in an endgame like this. But I thought maybe this, and I'm just suffering two bishops and some weak squares. But then I realized, okay, like stop panicking, just develop your pieces. And once I saw the plan that I go queen e7, rook d8, and then I go knight back to e8, protecting the g7 pawn, f6, e5. I shut the bishop, and then I'm sort of surviving. He goes rook d1. I go. Actually, the best move is castles, which is just again ridiculous. I think the strong engine was saying this. I don't know so rook e1, I go rook d8. He plays king e2, I go knight e8. Again, f6, e5, blocking the bishop. Bishop e1, f6. He goes queen c. Okay, it looks like he's provoking f6, g6, but his king's too weak, and I can trade pieces. He doesn't really have a real attack here. Takes. e5, king f1, rook d6. I want him to sort of take back with a knight. Rook g2, queen e6. I want to go knight e7 to open up my bishop. Queen d1, knight e7. Knight g1. This maneuver was sort of beyond me. I completely missed it. So I went king f7, f3. Queen d7, takes. And here I was sort of saying, like, okay, is he going to take a draw and just trade? And I was hoping that he would, of course, go here. And at this moment, again, I'm sort of getting low on time. We're on 25, but here I saw this amazing idea, and which is to start with e4. Of course, I'm threatening to take, and I'm threatening to take, so it goes different, and g5. And like this concept, I was actually so proud of because it looks really weird. Like you're sort of afraid to open up the diagonal. Obviously, well, no, I think you take. Yeah, pretty sure you take. Takes, yes. What is the best move? Knight f5 is the only move. Oh, yeah, knight f5. Oh, I see. Knight f5 first, because if you go here, I go in. Yeah, so knight f5 is strong. Anyways, okay, I was not sure if this is fine, but okay. Um, okay, I didn't think you could take it. Here, king f2, knight g7. Again, I'm threatening some sort of tactics. He goes queen c3, and here this was my chance of the game. And here, like this is showing just how tired I am. Like up until this point, I played a decent game, very solid, and I just like can't do basic calculation. So I calculate, okay, takes. Queen takes, knight c3, queen c1, e3. Like obviously, if here I got play here, if here I go here, and then if here I thought, okay, let me just go here. And then he goes queen f1, and I'm just like, okay, what have I done? Like, what is wrong with me? So I'm like completely blundering, completely fatigued, can't calculate. But in this position, if I play knight h5, the position starts to become very difficult. You know, um, because I'm threatening sort of to take this pawn. Let's see, defend with g3. I can take. Now, oh, I can bring the knight back to h6, coming to g4. The bishop is stuck. The bishops are not great. You know, I'm getting some attack. It's things can go very, very wrong. But of course, I just play something crazy. But the line here, what he has to find is like what I missed is not so bad. So after knight f5, king g takes like the winning variation. So he has two ways forward, and I want to show one variation. So after queen takes e3, I had calculated that I played check, king f2, queen takes b1, and now I saw them with bishop f6, which he missed after the game. But I saw this like this. And then I realized that I have an absolutely insane defense here. So you guys can try to pause the video and try to find the only move here, which I did see. And it's just an insane move. So Agenmatter still pause the video, and the move is queen t1 check. And you might be thinking that's just a free queen, but then I take the pawn with check. The king moves, I take the queen, and if you recapture, I take back. We trade, and I'm actually sort of pushing here because I have a bishop. Maybe the pawn will run. These pawns are on light squares, so the bishop could start, attacking them. Obviously, now you can take. I thought I'd give a check, and I go back. And okay, there's opposite colored bishops, but where I can play more defensive. I'm down a pawn, but again, I think I should be able to defend. This bishop's kind of weird. If I can get my bishop in, but I thought I should be able to hold this. But he missed bishop f6. It's not like from a distance to see bishop takes f6. It's not an easy move because if you don't have bishop f6, you just lose actually. Like if you take, if it takes, you just lose. So it's very easy to just not want to look at that and just think, okay, takes, I play bishop g2. And now here he had some insane move. Again, you can try to pause the video and figure out. The only move to win here is bishop takes f6. Now let's say I bring bishop back to c6. Now he must play g6, giving up the bishop, and then queen c3 check. And now the king, actually, let's say here you take with check. Here you take with check. If you're to block, you take, and this pawn's queening. So suddenly you pick it up with check, and I lose the game. So this is the only move, and this whole sequence is very difficult. He had 14 minutes, 7 moves left. He plays takes, I play check, I take the bishop, he goes to queen f4, I give a check, I give a check, and I go here. Here I start to get optimistic. And he played knight g3 here. And again, I have a minute 50. I was trying to calculate everything, trying to see. And here I actually had a quite a funny trick. And he missed this after the game. So after queen f2, for example, the king goes back. You're just getting mate. You give a check. Yeah, no, you have a check and check, and you win the knight. So you have two squares. You have d3 or c3. Now take a moment and think, which one would you go to? So you can take a moment, choose, pause the video, choose. So let's say king t3. First choose. So my opponent after the game thought, okay, he'll play king c3. But now, the variation that I was upset at myself during the game is knight d4. He takes. I run the king. I threatening queen c2 mate. So you must give a check. I give a check, I run. Okay, you're defending. Okay, well, you have to defend. I'm threatening check. So you go queen d3, I play queen takes h2. How to defend now? I'm threatening checks, I'm threatening all sorts of things. Only move. Knight f1, I go back to f2. Now, again, only move knight d2, and bishop comes to g4. Bishop's coming to f5, queen e4, king c7. Only move bishop a3. This is just this is some frisky stuff, yeah. With a stronger engine, I think it's just winning. But again, I have no risk. I should go for this, of course. So I should have played queen f2, forcing him to find king d3. And then after takes, again, the only move queen takes f5, and it'll lead to sort of a repetition. There's no way for me to sort of coordinate an attack. He's attacking both of these pawns, and again, we'd be a draw. So I tried to give a check. I give a check, another check, and I had one last try. I was hoping like that he would take here, and then I can play bishop g6. And the point is that bishop g6, maybe the engine suggests another move. I go bishop g6, and like, okay, if you take, I'm gonna take back. And I was hoping that I would recoup this pawn. I wanted to keep some pieces on the board. But okay, he just trades, then he trades, and he trades. And unfortunately, there's just not enough pieces. I tried to go here. He plays the ultra. Okay, he could take. I win the pawn. But then he'll just check me forever, Just, just check, 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 check. Oops. Just checking me like this. No way to escape. Oh, this. So I should be careful. But he goes queen e1. We trade, trade, trade. Equal king upon the game. Agree to a draw. So yeah, that was quite a crazy game. Never objectively winning. I really should have taken my knight h5 chance. Should not have calculated. Should just not have gone for such an insane thing. Like um, very very poor calculation on my end. Probably just fatigue. Um, but again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. On January 31st, the Chessable Master starts. The play. So I'll be playing the Chessable Masters on January 31st. I'll be trying to post recaps of my games, analyzing, and I hope to sort of come back in that tournament. And I really hope that this is not a bad omen for the rest of the year, and I will work as hard as I can to overcome this boundary and setback. So again, thank you for the support. Please like and subscribe, comment as well. Love seeing your support, and have a great day, everyone.